Guys, you're welcome back to my channel again. This is Sim and Stitches. All right, just as we have seen on the thumbnail of this video, we are going to be making this trendy, beautiful bubu dress. So I have a previous video on bubu, and I would like you to watch that video. So this one is a unique one because it has a design in the front. It's kind of, beautiful with touch of Ankara. It's a mixture of two different fabric. So I want you to pay attention as I teach you how I made this bobo. Okay, so the first thing you do is to fold your fabric. I'm folding both the front and the back together. All right, so you take your measurement, you take all the length measurement. If you watch my previous video on bubu, you will understand this. I also have a video on how to make a dress, so please watch that dress pattern video. All right, so I took all my length measurement and then I went ahead to mark my width measurement, the bust width, the under bust and natural curve. So this is just to give me a bit of curve. This is a boo, so it's not really fitted. It's not fitted at all. In fact, it's not supposed to be fitted, but at least I still want to bring out the curved feminine shape. So that is why I decided to trace out this shape. I added extra allowances. So after I marked my bust measurement, I added extra allowance, like up to like 5 inches to each of those measurements. But then for my hip measurement, I added up to like 8 inches just to give it extra volume. Between 8 to 10 inches should be okay. So depending on how bogus your fabric is and how your clients want it to be. So some client, they will say no, even though it is boo, I still want it a bit fitted. So that's just what you follow. You listen to what your clients want. But for this, I added extra allowances to all my round measurement. And then I went ahead to mark them out. So the next thing, I marked the neck width for both the front and the back. I used 5 inches. This is going to be having a cano neck. So that cano neck is going to be wide, but it's not going to be deep. So I used 5 inches for my neck width and I used 2 inches for my neck depth. It is what I have for the neck depth at the back that I also have for the front. So I went ahead to mark that 5 inches by 2 inches. So I marked it out, I traced out my shape, and I went ahead to cut the design out. Trust me. So at this point, I added extra seam to the allowance because I needed extra length for extra fabric for the length. So I wanted the length to be, long, and I wanted it to have the border end. So I added from the sides, I added up to like 10 inches to give me the exact length that I want. So this is what I did at this point. So it's added more beauty to the design, even though it wasn't planned. I just thought about it while I was cutting, and then it came out so nice. I cut for the back and I cut for the front. So the next thing I did is to take my design to the sewing machine. So if you notice, there's no cutting at the shoulder. So both the front and the back are one piece. And then I went on to turn the neckline. So I turned my neckline using my bias binder. So I turned it all round and it came out very neat. And then I took it to the ironing board and I ironed. So after that, I proceeded to my design. I cut my Ankara patched fabric. I cut it in 9 by 10 inches, 10 inches wide and 9 inches long. So I went on to cut that. And after doing that, I cut for the 3 designs that I needed and I took it to the ironing board. So I secured it in position using my hemming gum. So hemming gum to hold it in place before stitching it. So I located the center of my bubu and I placed it strategically such that it would sit well at the middle. So I went on to do the other parts of the Ankara, I used three different Ankara fabrics. So this is what I did here. I ironed the edges to give it a neat seam finish, and then I placed it on the main fabric, and then I used my hemming gum to secure it at the right side and at the left side. So while I was placing the second one, if you noticed, I added a lot of length in between. That is because I'm going to be adding a fringe on each of the layers. So I need room for the fringe to fall on. So that was what I did by putting spaces in between the Ankara that I used. So I went on, measured the right thing, and then I placed it on the main fabric, and I used my hemming gum to secure it on the right side and on the left side. So just the two sides are okay. Once it is holding firm, I'm good to go. And if you want, you can decide not to, do that. So I took it to the sewing machine and I stitched the edges round for each of the Ankara piece. I stitched it all, the four corners. I stitched it and I secured my stitches. All right, so the next thing I did was to cut out the inner. So if you notice, the main fabric is a lace fabric, so it's transparent. So I had to do an inner because there's no lining directly on the fabric. So what I did is just to cut out my, simple inner. So I made it in form of a short, loose gown. So I went ahead to cut it out. So if you want to understand how to cut this, I have a video on how to make a simple straight dress. So I want you to watch that video, you will understand better. So that was basically what I did here, cut out the shape for both the front and the back. And I have my inner. I stitched it as well. I took it to the sewing machine. I stitched the neckline, I stitched the armhole, and I also stitched the sides, and then I hemmed it and it was ready to be worn. It's very simple and easy. Just follow what the video, observe how I'm doing it, and watch that basic video for you to know what to measure when you are making a simple straight fitted or loose dress. Trust me. All right, guys, we are almost done with making this bubu. You can see that it is very simple to make. So the next thing I went to do is to cut out my fringe. So I measured it right, placing it on each of this piece. So I folded the seam side and I stitched it on each of the piece. I took it to my sewing machine and I stitched it. Remember, I told you I'm going to be adding a fringe. So this is what I did for each of the piece. As you can see it there. So I took it to the sewing machine and I stitched it, double stitching it, ensuring, because the fringe is fragile, so you have to secure your stitches very well. And there you have it, the bubu ready to be worn. Very simple to make and easy. So I just came here, trimmed out the excesses on the length of the fringe, and then I ironed out my garment. Very beautiful. It came out really nice. My client loved it. She was, looking glamorous when she wore it. She kept saying, "Oh, I love my dress, I love my dress." And that's what I have, the satisfaction that comes when you make something, the piece that someone likes. All right, so thank you guys for watching. Kindly subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed. Like this video. Watch out for the next video I'm posting on my channel. All right, guys, I'll catch you later. Bye. Trust me.